Hello everyone, and welcome back to the next video in the Discussing Enterprise Architect series. I'm joined again today with Stephen. How are you, Stephen?
I'm well, Tom, and it's great to be here again.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So, Stephen, we've done a bit of work now. We've created our model. We've got lots of bits and pieces in it. I believe today we're looking at how we can search this model.
That's right, Tom. It always surprises me how very quickly the content of a repository can increase, particularly when you're collaborating with other people. You might, have 2, 3, 4, or even 400 people working in the repository at the same time. The number of things that are created becomes very large, and finding something becomes a challenge if you're just using the project browser. So that's a common way for a novice to start, is to start looking through the project browser and looking for something. But a more sophisticated modeler will use some of the features inside the tool. Now, there are a number of places where you can search. Over here on the right-hand side, we've got a find package. I can simply type in a package name there, such as deployment, and look for that. And it shows me the deployment model. I can right mouse click on that and find in the project browser. So that's one way of getting to it. The focus window, which we've looked at as well, also has a quick find feature on there. So, I had been searching for debit there a while ago. Again, the debit card pops up. I can say find in all diagrams, and it takes me straight to that or to the project browser. But the feature that I want to look at in more detail is from the start ribbon here. We've got an explore panel, and we accessed that with portals once before, but we've also got a search facility here. We can look at a model search, a file search, recent diagrams, recent elements, all sorts of other things. But what I'm focusing on is what I'm going to call a model search. So if you click on that, that brings up the Find in project. A short keyboard shortcut for that is Control F. That will bring that up. Now we've given a number of options here. You can see across the screen we've got a search term, common searches, simple, and then a number of buttons over here that we can press as well. Let's do something incredibly simple. Let's just look for that debit again, and we'll just put that in without changing anything. And you can see here that we've got a result set returned. We've got a requirement. We've got two different classes, a payment reader and a debit card. So our earlier use of the focus window just gave us a single element here, but this is a slightly more sophisticated. It's giving us the requirements. Now, I can't see the word debit in this payment processing here, but if you look at the notes which have popped up here in the right-hand corner as I selected that element as the context, you can see the word debit is in the notes. So let's explore what's happened there. And remember, I can always go to find this in the project browser. I can say find in the project browser. I've gone directly to that requirement now, and I can go to any of those other elements as well. Let's have a little bit of a look at some different types of searches. For example, here, let's look at the list of types of searches. We've got common and a whole range of them, from changes and defects and all sorts of other things, features and decisions. So that's quite useful there. But each one of these categories has got its own list of searches. So we've got simple, extended for the common searches, element name, attributes, lots and lots of different things, decision models. So what we do, Tom, is we select the kind of search that we want, because there are so many different modeled elements and model diagrams and decision tables and attributes and operations, receptions, discussions, all sorts of things in here. And if we focus in on what we're looking for, the results can be more focused as well. So let's have a look here, and let's look for Chinese. So I had a discussion earlier, and someone was talking about the fact that, and I hadn't realized this about the parking meter system, that the parking meter system had a multi-language interface, because it's in the middle of an urban environment, and of course you have a number of travelers and things. Let's look for that and do a search on that. Now, that didn't return any results. So I'm sure that one of the developers said that we were doing multiple languages. What if I choose not just the simple search, but the extended search there? And let's hit that again. Now we did get one result here. Let's click on that, And let's go and find that in the project browser. It's come up there, and the current messages, that sounds like it might be interesting. And here, over here in the notes, we've got the messages will be formatted as JSON files with language options in Chinese, Indonesian, Spanish, French, and Italian. So very useful to find that detail. But what's actually going on with this? Let's have a quick look under the hood. Let's go back to our simple example, and let's put in the debit again. And let's have a look at our result. We can look at the way that the search has been constructed internally by clicking on this button here, the Edit Search. And I'm going to do that, and that brings up a panel of filters. So this is what the system is doing under the hood when you run that search. And as always, Enterprise Architect gives you the ability to change this and look at it, configure it yourself. So what these filters are saying, Tom, is that if the word that we put into the search term, which is indicated by this placeholder over here under look for, so that's a placeholder for the search term. And anytime I put debit into there, effectively just think about it as replacing that search term. So what it says is, if the alias, the name, or the notes contains the word that we put in our search term, debit, it will pop up and a result will be returned. So here we can see down here, this one here, this result is where it exists in the name. This one here is where it exists in the notes. And this one exists in the notes as well, but it could have been in an alias as well. Remember, every element has an alias, which is another option for you to put in a short name or an acronym. So that's what's going on underneath the hood, Tom, with all the searches, and I can look at those, edit any of the searches that way. So let's explore something here. What this actually says in logic terms is, it says if the term exists in the name, or in the alias, or in the notes. So if you look at this one here, let's just change something and say something about the debit card here, and say the debit card is issued by the financial institution. Let's put that in there, and let's now say that we don't want it just to be any of these. We want it to be that it exists in both the notes and the name. So if we click this guy here and say it's required, then that changes the search. So let me run that search again now, and you see that only the debit card pops up, because that's the only one where that appears in both the name and the notes. Now, under the hood, you don't need to know about, Boolean logic or anything, any aspects of that. You can simply just tick that box and know that what you're saying is it must be in both. So it's hidden, Enterprise Architect has hidden this logic underneath this very simple interface. So we've talked about a number of different searches there, and we've seen how that operates. But one of the great features of the tool is, and a novice user or coming to Enterprise Architect will use these, quite commonly. But someone who's more of an advanced user might want to create their own searches. And once again, the tool, anything that's kind of built in as a feature of the tool, is usually available for the user to configure themselves. So let's have a look at that. Let's close this panel for a minute, and let's say, look, let's get our new search. So let's give our search a name, and let's call it something. Let's focus in on requirements. Recent high priority requirements by status, say. So that's what we're looking at. We're trying to find, the requirements that are both, high priority, they're recent ones, and by their status. So, I guess the background to this scenario is, you need to know if something's of high priority, it's got a status of being validated and it's ready to be worked on, and it's recent. We haven't seen it before. So you notice here in the editor type, we've got Query Builder, SQL Editor, and Add-in Search. So there are 3 different levels of search that you can create for your own work. So we're going to choose this one here, which is the simplest, and we'll cover these other ones possibly in a more detailed video at some later point. Let's go OK to that. Already exists. So let me just go back on. What I want to do is show you this from the start, and then so I have actually run this myself, and so I'll show you this, and then I'll come back and show you how it's created. So if you look at this list here, I've got my searches, and there is that one there, and I'm going to open that up, and we'll have a quick look at it. So what we've got is some filters that have been set. So I'll get you to have a look at this first, and then we'll quickly go back and create it ourselves. So we've got something about object type, the phase, the priority, and the status. So let's look at that, and we'll delete this one, Tom, and we'll start from scratch so you can see how that's created. So let's delete that one, and it's gone. And let's create a new one. This time we'll call it the same thing: recent high priority requirements by status. So query builder there, it pops up. What I get effectively is a blank palette here. I've got no filters in there at the moment. Let's look at putting a filter in. The first filter I want to put in, I can add as an element condition. So I'll choose element, and I'm going to choose object type. So here are the list of things that I want, and I've got object type, and I've got contains or equal to, and I'm going to put in, instead of the search term there, I'm going to put in the word requirement, which is a keyword saying that all we want to do is look for requirements. So we'll go OK to that, and you can see that filter's popped up and it's required. Let's save our search, and let's run this search. And you can see that the requirements pop up, and this will be all the list of the requirements in the tool at the moment. But that's not what we want to do. We want to get the high priority ones. So let's look at adding another filter. Quick little toolbar button there. Let's add another filter, and let's look for priority, conveniently listed here. And we want to say that it's required as well. We want it to be both a requirement and a high priority one. So let's go equal to, and let's put in, again, we'll ignore the search term, and we'll put in high here. So it's a high priority, and we know that that there are listed ones that are high, medium, and low. So now let's again choose this and saying it's required. And now let's run the search again. And we've got, several items there. And we run it again, and we get a much shorter list. We only got 2. And if we click on these elements, we can see over here that the priority of those are high. So we're building up this list of things in our search. Yeah. The other thing that I might want to do is look at the status. So our thing was requirements by status. So this time we'll add another filter, and we'll look at status. Again, status is conveniently listed there. And let's go in here and say equal to. This time we're going to leave this search term, or we'll just pop that back in again. So we can just type search term as a placeholder there. And that then says that when we enter a search term, that will be replaced in this search. And you'll see that coming over here. It's there. And again, we want it to be required. So we want everything that's a requirement type of high priority and a particular status. So now when we run it, we can put a status into the search term. And let's choose validated and see whether we get any results for that. And we do, and now it reduces the thing again. And we've got just a single element that's returned that's of type requirement, that's of high priority, and it's of search term validated. So very useful there. Let's do something else, Tom. And if you notice when we were clicking on this, we had a number of different options here, and we went one of there. Let's go that, and let's have a look over here. Conveniently, we get a little button to press here, and we can say, look, we want to look for both high and medium ones. So let's go OK to that. Remember to save our search again, and now let's run that again for validated. Now we get 2 back. So the weatherproofing requirement is also a requirement of high or medium priority and a status of validated. Now, if we look at these, we'll see that the status over there on the properties window is changing. So that's a very useful thing to do, and anyone can create searches for themselves and access. Just drill down on exactly the information that you're wanting. So when I look at this, I go, look, weatherproofing, I want to look at that requirement. Let's find it in all diagrams. There it is. It's, in the diagram as a weatherproofing. The meter must be housed in an IP65 rated weatherproof enclosure, and we get that detail.
Interesting. That's pretty powerful. I was just looking at the filter list. Like the filter list for element was huge, and then there was actually other filter lists as well for other things.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. You've just again touched the top of the iceberg, and we've got tag values and tasks and issues and changes and defects, whole range of different things that we can set the filters on. So it can go down in all sorts of levels. So if we were to add a change one, for example, you'll see what that does, and we'll say the completed by. And we could, click that one there and leave it as the search term again there and go okay to that. And you can see that pops down there as well. And we can, decide how we want to do that. And so if we look at, one that's been, completed, if you like, so we'll look at this common searches and this, I'll save my search there. And we look at this extended one, and, you can see in here exactly what you were talking about. Here's the element. Here's an issue, changes, tasks, resources, all sorts of things. And, we can put any, they've all got search term placeholders, but we can build that search up. And, the sky's the limit, really, Tom, with what you can search for. And look, this might seem a little trivial given the size of our demonstration repository. We've, probably got, a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 elements in it, but we have clients that have got literally millions of elements in their repository, and you can imagine how powerful this search facility is. And also, remember, we just scratched the surface, because again, we're looking at the query builder, but there's an SQL one, there's also an add-in search. So there's a lot of power under the hood in this thing, Tom.
That looks awesome. Looks very, very useful. And remember too, I think from another video, we actually used a saved search in one of our model views, didn't we? So I noticed when you added a thing, we got a notification up down the bottom from that.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. So the search window isn't just it's useful just to be finding things, but it integrates with other windows. So the window that you were talking about is the focus window there, and we had model views, and here we can in our own model views we can say new slide, new favorites, new slideshow, new views mode, but also a new search folder. So again, we can look at this, and there are the built-in ones, and here are some of the other ones. So we've got my searches there. There's our search. We could put that there, and we've got a name, and I'll call it recent.
So I imagine that this would be useful for someone who's, say, monitoring high priority elements that their status has been like disproven or non-validated or need to be checked or something. So we just like pop up in their list to access on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. So you can see here, that's what's popped up there in that list. And you're exactly right. This window is my friend. I use the project browser, of course, like everyone does. It's an incredibly useful thing. But I like to have this focus window and go, hey, these are the things that I'm interested in. Get rid of a lot of the things that I'm not interested in at the time, and I can just focus on the work that is important to me. And this is what it is. And anytime a new requirement's added that meets those conditions, then it will pop up in this window. So we didn't put the search term in there. If I put in validated there, you'll see what will happen there, and that list goes back to the list of things that we were looking for. So I can keep putting different different statuses in there. I might say, look, I want to look at proposed status or the implemented status as well. So incredibly powerful. I encourage anyone in the audience to use this focus window because it is so powerful. It gets you right close to the things that you need to work on.
So Stephen, just looking back at the search window again, I noticed there's an area that says drag a column header here to group by that column. So does that mean that we can group the search results?
Yeah, exactly.
If there's a number of them there, can we have a quick look at that?
Yeah, certainly, Tom. So let's look at a common search now. Let's look at this simple one, and let's go for that one, and we'll just close this guy up for a tick, and we'll just remove that one there, and we'll say common search is simple, and we'll look for let's look for payment. So we've got a slightly different search there. We're going to get quite a few things back. What we can do is you can see here that EA conveniently lists in columns the metadata that's on these elements. So we didn't field chooser there. We can choose any other any properties that we want. But the ones that are here, let's look at this one, proposed. And actually, we'll look at this status of these. And we can drag these up to the column header there. Just drag the status one up there. Yeah, I did the wrong thing there. So we've got status there. So they're all proposed. They're the validated ones there. So if we changed some of these things in the project browser and the status, we can just do that on the fly over here. Let's just change that one there. We'll do it on this window over here. And we've got the properties window there, and I need to change the status.
Just at the top there, I think.
Oh,
that's the first item.
Oh, I'm just looking for it there. Yeah, thanks, Tom. Let's go that approved, and let's change some other ones, and we'll change that that status there as well. Let's flick up to that, and the status there, and we'll change that to validated. So that's going to change those all of those. I can refresh that result. I just clear results and run that again, Tom, and you'll see now that we've got things that are in different categories there. And if things were in different phases, I can drag them underneath as well. Any of the other phases, I could drag that underneath that one as well and group them.
Why don't we try by type? Can you drag type up underneath status?
Yeah, I can do that too, Tom. That's a great thing to do. So we've got status. We can switch that around. We can say type and then status. So we've got all sorts of, we've got actors there. We've got classes. We've got all sorts of different things. Type requirement. We've got status proposed, status validated there. So it's listing all of those. That's a very powerful feature. So thanks for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
Very
good way of organizing the search results, especially if you do have a big list to come back to. Makes them quite much more readable.
Yeah. One other thing I wouldn't like to mention, Tom, is this feature here. Searching the model or searching the current package. Sometimes you know whereabouts in the repository it is, and that can narrow your search results. You might have different projects in the repository, and you may want to just be looking at this particular project versus another so social media integrator project or something, and you can just select that node in the project browser and focus your search just on the contents of that particular package.
Quite useful.
Yes.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much for that, Stephen. Very enlightening. Very, very powerful feature by the looks of it.
Indeed, Tom.
Well, thank you everyone for watching the video today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what's your favorite part of the search feature. Join us again tomorrow for another video. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you then.